In this video, which is part 1 of 3, I'm going to show you how to paint Saint Celestine's body, and we'll finish her off in part 2 and part 3. Welcome to the Saint Celestine 3-part video series. So I'm really excited that we finally got to wrap up the Sisters of Battle, and we're going to finish off with Saint Celestine. So you can see her there. If you've seen my posts, then you'll have noticed that I've done her in 3 parts. We've got Celestine, we've got the wings, and we've got the cloak attached to the base. One quick tip when you do things this way is just pop a little bit of blue tack over the connector points before you prime. That way you can pull them off and you've got plastic on plastic when you go to glue them together. So let's get started. Now, if you've got some Retributor Gold spray, feel free to use that to base Celestine. I haven't. I didn't want to spend 17 British pounds on the base coat for the armour, so I'm going to use Retributor Armour, the paint. I'm just going to work my way around all over the armour. I'm going to be as neat as I possibly can, because there are some spaces where it's easier if I don't get gold paint. And this is over a grey cere undercoat. You can use any grey undercoat you want. Just bear in mind that the kind of darker the undercoat, the more coats of Retributor Armour you're going to need. And if you've used Retributor Armour Gold Spray, you can pretty much skip this point, because you'll have done it in a matter of seconds. Just make sure you give the can a really good shake before you actually go anywhere near the model with it. It's a metallic spray. Things can go wrong. So I'm going to finish off basing all the gold detail as neatly as I can, and then we'll come back. We'll do the black kind of bits like the kind of suit underneath, and then we'll get onto the shading and the highlighting of the gold armour, which is obviously the main part of Celestine herself. Once you've got the Retributor Armour done, we're just going to take some Abaddon Black. I'm just going to use this to fill out all the kind of black bits, and the reason I'm doing this now is so that if I make a mistake, as I'm prone to do with my fat hands, then I can just go back in and tidy it up with some Retributor Armour before we get too invested in getting the gold shaded and highlighted. So it'll just save us a bit of time in the long run. So take your time, be careful, try not to get it on the Retributor Armour. If you do, you know, you can go in and tidy it up. But the whole point of doing it this way is so that we don't have to do too much tidying up. So I'm going to finish that. I'm going to paint the corset as well, the parts of that are going to be black. And I've thinned my black down quite a bit, so I'll put a second coat on as well. I'm going to get that done off cam. I'll do the hair as well. We'll come back, we'll start the gold properly. Once we've got all the black done, just go in and touch up the Reikland Fleshshade if you need, the Retributor Armour, sorry, if you need to. And then we're going to start actually shading with Reikland Fleshshade. Now, you have got the gloss Reikland Fleshshade. I don't really like the gloss, so I'm just doing the normal, original matte Reikland Fleshshade. And this is going to give the gold a bit of a reddy colour. And I'm putting this all over the armour. And we're going to use a bit of edge highlighting. We're going to use some area highlighting as well. So get the Retributor Armour all over the model. You don't want too much on your brush as you do this, because you don't want it to pool on the model so that you've got great big dirty patches of it. So work your way around. You can see there that it's starting to make the gold look a lot redder in colour. So I'm going to finish off the rest of the model, let this dry fully, so you know, you're probably talking 10 maybe 20 minutes, and then come back and we'll start to highlight the gold, and then we'll really make this model start to pop. Once your Reikland Fleshshade has dried, we're going to go back to Retributor Armour. And what we're going to do, like I said, we were going to area highlight a lot of this, but we're just looking for the kind of the highest areas. So I'm going to focus on the top of the kind of the leg there, kind of top right of the kneecap. What we're doing with this is we're just kind of making sure that we've got 3 different tones. So we've got the Reikland Fleshshade in the darkest tone, we've got the Retributor Armour as a mid, or the original Retributor Armour as a kind of a mid-tone, and then we've got the plain Retributor Armour as a sort of mid-tone that we've got going on there. Watching there, it's still a little bit wet in there, you might be able to see, so I'm going to stay away from that and go back to it. So work your way around the model, looking for all the kind of big areas where you can get the Retributor Armour back in. And then we'll come back and we'll have a look at the first highlight. Next up, we're going to use some Liberator Gold. So this is a lighter gold, but it should blend in with the Retributor, and we're just going to do the same as we did with the Retributor Armour really. Just get the little bit of paint on the tip of your brush, and you can just kind of use that to do a kind of shape highlight. Pull it along the edge where you think that the light will reflect. And yeah, there's going to be some edges where, you know, like here on the calf for example, got a nice highlight there. Moving down the foot. So this is a really nice straightforward way of highlighting gold. When it dries, like you said, it'll kind of blend into the Retributor a little bit more. So it looks quite nice. So work your way around the model. Wherever you've painted the Retributor in, we're going to just add that Liberator Gold to it. And then we'll come back and we'll do the final highlight on the gold armour. Nice and quickly with a really nice effect. Final highlight for the gold armour is Vallejo Model Air Chrome, which is a bright silver. And what we're looking for this is just on the edges. So we've got the kind of top of the knee guard there. We've got the top of the thigh armour there. So just work your way around the model. Use this really sparingly on those sharpest edges. And the reason I say use it sparingly is because the model will start to shine, and if you use too much, it'll end up looking a little silver. So really important that you've got a good brush. I use Winsor and Newton Series 7. I'll pop a link to them in the description, so if you want to get your own or you need to refresh, you can do. I'm just going to carry on working my way around. Again, really take your time with this, because this is a key part of the painting process, getting this kind of last highlight in. So there we are. I'm going to finish the rest off cam. We'll have a look at it, we'll come back and we'll start on some of the red work next. With that last bit of chrome done, I'm just going to base coat the red parts. So we've got this part of the corset here. I'm just going to run the red into, and I'm using Mephiston Red for this. Just take your time as you get close to the gold and the black that you've already done. So we've got both sides to do here. As ever, a decent point on your brush goes a long way. These studs are getting in the way a little bit. So we've got that part there. We've also got this bit of, I suppose loincloth, the wrong word, but in terms of decoration, we've got that to do. So just take your time, work it on. Depending on how much you've thinned the paint, you might need a couple of thin coats. Again, being really careful when you come up against the black and the gold that you've already laid down. Just work it on there slowly. And the other bit we've got is we've got the sword handle as well. Now there's not much of the sword handle to do because the hand is there. So we'll just go in and we'll fill in some of those gaps. So I'm going to go back now off cam and finish off the rest of these red parts, and we'll come back and we'll have a look at the silver metallics. For the silver then, we're going to use iron hand steel. And there's a few areas for this. So we've got the zip that runs down the front here of the corset, and the skull above it. We've got all the fleur-de-lis that are on the armour as well. And I want to thank one of my viewers for correcting my pronunciation. You do pronounce the S when you say fleur-de-lis, and like I was doing, saying fleur-de-lis. So not only are you learning to paint, you're learning how to pronounce French as well, which I think is pretty cool. So just work your way around the model. We've got that pipe here as well. Just give that a good coating with the iron hand steel. Again, being really careful not to go over anything that you've already hit. And we'll also give the sword a coat as well, because we're going to give a power sword effect on it before we finish, but we want it to be silver metallic as well. So work your way around, get all those bits you need to be silver, and we'll come back and we'll have a look at shading and highlighting them. We'll then shade that iron hand steel with a bit of Nuln Oil, and we'll also do the Mephiston Red as well to give it some real contrast with the armour. Now we don't want to put too much on the big wide open parts of the cloth like that. We just want to give it a little bit of depth. So work your way around all the metallic bits. I've noticed I've missed a fleur-de-lis in there, which I'll go back and fix. We just want to put a little bit on the sword as well. We don't want to throw too much wash on, because it'll make it easier to highlight, and it'll also make it easier to preserve your paint. You're not going to waste as much paint if you're not using as much, which today's market I'm not sure anyone can complain about. So there we are. Going to go around. Be careful when you get to the gold parts, you don't put too much on. You put a little bit around the edges of the fleur-de-lis like that, because that gives a nice shadow. And when we come back, we'll have a look at highlighting it. We're going to highlight the silver metallics with a little bit of chrome, and really we're just going to do edge highlighting here, so just pull it along the edge of the weapons. I'll show you how to do the power weapon effect in the third video. So like I said, this is a video series, so we're going to do the main parts of Celestine, the body kind of now, and we'll do the cloak and I guess the tapers, the purity seals which connect her to the base, and then we'll do the wings and all the details last. So just a few things to think about. With the wings, you paint them in exactly the same way as I'm doing the gold here, or have done the gold here. So they'll be all ready to go when we actually start the next video. And what we'll do is we'll highlight the red the way I show you during the cloak video as well. So we won't actually highlight the red on this video, we'll do it on the cloak video, and then we'll come back and have a look at how all that looks, because that way we can get through the videos a little bit quicker and you can get to work on your Celestine a lot faster as well. So go around any little bits of silver that you find, give them a little highlight with the chrome, and then we'll come back, and the next thing we'll do is we'll have a look at Celestine's skin and her glowing blue eyes. So we'll base the skin with Kislev Flesh. So just work it on. Depending on how thick it goes, you may need a couple of thin coats, as it covers the grey. If it's too thin, it'll look a little green. So as with everything, and my top tip for any kind of miniature painting, take your time. Take your time. Because if you rush, you might make a mistake and it'll take you twice as long to repair. And for the face, same sort of thing. Just be mindful, obviously, that you've got the hair. Don't worry if you go over it with the Kislev Flesh, because we can just use some Abaddon Black to go back in and tidy up. So I'm going to finish this off cam, and we'll come back and we'll put the next layer of flesh on and have a look at shading it and highlighting. Next up, just take some Flayed One Flesh, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to highlight the skin. So we're going to leave that Kislev Flesh in the recesses, and we're going to highlight with the Flayed One Flesh. Just because the sisters have got a kind of light flesh colour. So work your way around, get all the fingers, and then we'll have a look at the face. Nose, eyes, brows, cheeks. And then when you're happy with it, let that dry, and then we'll shade it a little bit more in the next step. So to shade that flesh, we just want to take some Reikland Fleshshade. We don't want too much on the brush, we just want to run it into the kind of the deepest recesses, so that we've got a subtle change in shade. We haven't got too much on the brush, because if we have too much, we'll put the warmth back into the model. We don't really want that. We don't want this to be a warm skin, because Celestine herself is quite ethereal in nature. So we're just going to, a little on the lips maybe, just under the cheek. Just add a little bit of colour. Less is more with kind of this step. If you do put a bit too much on, then you can just go back with some Flayed One Flesh to clear that up. So I'm going to let that Reikland Fleshshade dry. It won't take too long because it was really thin. And then what I might do is just take a little bit more Flayed One Flesh and just re-emphasise some of the areas I've just covered with Reikland Fleshshade. So there we are, I'm going to let that dry, and when we come back we'll have a little look at doing the eyes. We'll base all the bits that are going to be white, and then that'll do us for this video. So take some Corax White, and we're going to run this over, just roughly over the roses here. We don't want a solid coverage on there. So just run it roughly, and what you do when you run it roughly is you'll just catch those kind of top edges and the flow of material coming from the loincloth as well. And then the other areas we want to do is we've got the wings on the legs, and we've got the wings on the shoulder pad here. So take your time on that, just get that Corax White on there, and then we'll come back, we'll shade them, give them a little highlight, and then we'll have a look at the eyes as part of that highlight, and we'll pop the blue glow on in this video as well. To shade all the white wings, I'm just going to use a little bit of Apothecary White contrast paint. Just paint it over. Be careful not to spill this anywhere else. We're not going to put it on the roses because they're going to be a different colour again. So this is a nice, easy, straightforward step. And we'll come back and highlight it and have a go at the eyes as well. Just make sure you get all the wings that you need to. Maybe drop some into that fold on the cloth as well. When your Apothecary White is dry, just take some white scar, just highlight the areas of white. Just like that, nice and easy, nice and straightforward. As with everything, take your time, enjoy the process. And the other thing we're going to do with the white scar is we're going to do Celestine's eyes. So 1 and 2. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to finish the rest of the white off cam. We'll come back, we'll put the eye glow on, and then that'll be it for part 1 of the Celestine paint video. So for the glowing blue eyes, hopefully should be really straightforward. Just going to take some Aethermatic Blue contrast paint. We're just going to drop it in to the eye sockets. So I'll put a little bit much on that side, so I'll just pull a little bit away. And I'm also just going to work it around the skin around Celestine as well, just to give it that glow. So I'm just going to let that dry a little. And then I'm going to take a little bit more Aethermatic Blue, just kind of pop it into the deeper recesses there around the eye, just like that. So let that dry, and then that Celestine's glowing eye is done. If you put a little bit too much in, you can go back and add the white dot on the eye, which I might do as well once it's dried. But that's it for this video. Come back for the second video, and depending when you watch this, it's either going to be tomorrow or it'll be straight after it if you're watching it after release, and we'll finish Celestine, we'll get the cape and the trailing purity seals done, and we'll just have the wings left to do. So there we have it, Saint Celestine's body's done. We've just got a little bit of extra highlighting to really make her pop. Now stay tuned for part 2. If you're watching this on release day, it'll be out tomorrow, and if you're watching it after that, you can watch it straight away. Thanks for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like and a comment down below. Don't forget you can buy your own Saint Celestine for about 15% off from Goblin Gaming. Again, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.